My name is Sagar and I am a student from cohort 24 of BITSoM.
I'm Suyash Gupta from the same cohort as well.
We're here to discuss about one of the unique course that we went ahead in the second term of our second year, that was leveraging AI for business success and social implications. To be very honest, it was one of the most unique course that I have been a part of. Because of how it went ahead. There were 3 or 4 things that it started with. Professor mentioned about how AI as a foundation has grown a lot. The good thing about me for this course was the fact that I don't come from a technical background, and it didn't involve a lot of technical expertise, but it still went ahead with me building a good foundation in AI. Along with that, it also taught us about how AI is actually implementing and getting to be a part of business context for different job roles, for different responsibilities, for different industries. So I think that was one of a good starter for all of us. And last, which was I feel one of the most discussed factors about AI, was the social implications. It just did not tell us about all the positives of AI, but actually a lot of negatives and how as a user and as an experience we should deal with that.
Yeah, I completely agree with the gist that you provided of the course content here. Now let me also touch upon the professor who taught the course content. So this course was taught to us by Professor Kaschap Kompella, who is a BITS Pilani alumnus, a CFA, and also a global thought leader on AI. He has been present in a lot of different top news websites all across the world, including BBC, Forbes, Mint, etc. He also is currently working as the CEO of RPA2AI, which is a global AI consulting firm, and it consults for small companies, large companies, startups, and even governments across the Asia Pacific, Europe, and Americas. So learning from such a person who's coming from the practical implementation of that field was quite significant for us. So since we've touched upon that, let's talk about why exactly did you take the leveraging AI elective?
So honestly, after going through the course, I've retained 3 major learnings, which I think was a part of our course outline as well, and because of which I thought that it should be a part of my portfolio during the MBA process. So first, I remember we discussed about the Edgify startup case, and we discussed about BITSoM, a new startup, that builds on the content that a user has on his phone, whether it's images, whether they are videos, and actually provides data to leading firms like grocery retail stores. So how they can build personalized recommendations for the users. So that was something that was never thought of 10 years ago, and this was a startup which boomed ahead, and as of now, if I remember well, they are providing services to 200 retailers across the world. So starting from Tel Aviv and London and going across the globe was something that gobbled my mind. Next, I think we also got an idea of how venture capitalists look into AI firms. So Professor did tell us about what are the model unfit and non-fit rates, model fit and unfit rates, a lot of false positive or true positive rates, and how does a venture capitalist actually assess the prospective investment in an AI firm. And last thing that actually excited me the most was what are the actual implications of AI as of now. So whether it is image detection, whether it is segment detection, especially we have seen hotspot in cricket, that is a form of AI that we can see, whether it is image generation, which is used in a lot of industries like gaming, marketing industries, marketing sector as a whole. So I think these were the processes, and these were the things that were mentioned in the course outline, which I felt could be a good addition to my portfolio as well as to my learnings in the MBA.
It's quite interesting how you went from a non-technical background into the course, and your key takeaways basically revolved around, let's say, the technology implementation and use cases. If I talk about the same thing for me, so I actually come from a technical background with a CS major, and I worked quite a fair bit on classic machine learning techniques. So I knew about those, but I did not know about the newer things that were coming up in AI, like generative AI and a lot of newer recognition technologies in different domains like images or audio, etc., that have been quite refined now. So I went in to understand about those, and additionally to understand about the business implementations and the managerial aspects of AI. So I think that is where the course touched upon quite significantly, and we were able to get a solid understanding of how different use cases of AI are there, and how we can actually understand if a certain business actually has use for AI or not. So I think that was quite significant.
Great. So let's say if I am an outsider and I have to ask you what were the top 3 learnings if you want to conclude about the course, or what would be the 3 specific points that you want to highlight about the course, what would that be according to you?
So I think the broad aspect, before I let's say those 3 points, would be that I'll start from a proverb. So once you have a hammer, everything looks like a nail.
Right.
So this approach shouldn't be followed with AI. I had actually had this conversation with the professor, and he had talked about in the class as well that not every business is a good use case for AI. So I think the first thing is that not every business is a good use case for AI. And the second is the framework that the professor shared to assess the various impacts of AI, which was essentially individuals, companies, investors, and governments, how all of these are getting impacted from AI. And the third is the due diligence and the ethics aspect of AI. So actually, the same person who's a good guy in someone's story is a bad guy in someone else's story.
Right.
And the person who's designing the AI is essentially taking the decision of who's the good guy and bad guy, which is quite subjective, and conversations about these topics need to be held in open forums like this one. And these were my takeaways from the course.
To add to that, I think the one thing that Professor certainly mentioned throughout the course was how as a young MBA graduate, we should actually root for good AI.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, the social implications have been harsh enough for us to get a lot of stories about it, but there are exactly the flip side of that as well. So the fact that we as young individuals have to root for good AI and the positive implications of that, plus how we don't have to be afraid of AI, rather than as learners we should make that as our superpower, was something that was the baseline of the entire course, which I felt, which he mentioned a lot.
Yeah.
And coming, as I mentioned, with a non-technical background, that reaffirmation throughout those 10 sessions helped me a lot to sum up the course.
Yeah, great.
Thanks.
Thank you, Sagar.